For those who don't know me, I'm Justin Garcia, Gonzaga Cadre 2, and I think like after this like long, amazing like convention, you know, we've been talking a lot about transformation, but for me, what it really comes down to is I love you. Like such simple 3 words, and really there's a lot of power in that. And you know, I love what we're doing. I love how far we've all come for the alumni. Look what you guys have done, and look what you've gotten rolling for our schools. And like, I don't know, that's as far as I can think. It's just so much love in this room that there's not anything possible that could like stop this transformation that's going to happen, and it's a wonderful thing. So yeah.
I would also want to hear from staff and faculty as well.
Hello, my name is Kareem. I'm PAU Cadre 3. Being here, like, since I'm a freshman and everything, everybody keeps talking about change and how they want to change their schools and all that stuff. But me personally, I haven't been really on my campus, so I don't know what to change. But like after hearing everybody else, I think what I want to change is like myself, because I see that like, and I see like the older, you know, upperclassmen and, you know, Tiffany, and how like I've seen you guys like, it seems like you guys have grown so much and you guys become so strong, you know? Like I want to change myself so that when I graduate, I'm like you guys, you know? I want to be that kind of like inspirational person to like the people in my community and all that stuff, you know? So that's what I personally want to change.
My name is Michael Ford, PLU Cadre 1, and one thing that's really resonated with me here in the past couple days in regards to leadership is that leadership is more of a collective effort as opposed to an independent one. And with that said, leadership is not only a collective effort, but also multifaceted and takes on many different forms, shapes, sizes, and is practiced very different for each individual. And also, like, one thing that's also resonated as a sub-part of that is that because it's so multifaceted, one way to kind of practice your leadership is with that notion of change, as Kareem has just touched on. And yes, change, as we've all been discussing, is definitely a transformation externally. It's also a transformation internally, and really beginning in with ourselves and what's going on in here before we can really change about what's out there. And that's really resonated and stuck with me, because one way to really live that out is through what we've really been focusing on, is that notion of servant leadership and really putting others before us. And one way to be able to do that is coming to terms with ourselves and kind of changing ourselves and transforming ourselves in that multifaceted version of leadership.
My name is Miracle Lawyer. This has truly been a blessing to me. This is my second convention, and I came in trying to have expectations as the last one, and we all know you can't do that. You know what I mean? There's so many other people here, and a lot of times I just remember, I have to remind myself that these are the kind of things, these get-togethers are very encouraging and strengthening, especially for me. Getting a group of people that are trying to do the same thing. Yes, we're all different. We have our own different personalities, but we all have one goal. And that is not just to make a change in our communities or wherever we are, but just to enhance ourselves, improve ourselves. And I was just reminded of the Access story, and I'm so glad that I'm always reminded of that, because sometimes I myself I tend to forget the whole purpose of the scholarship and the leadership initiative, so that's why I'm glad we have these things. But with the 7 Grecians that went into their own community, there were 7 of them. There wasn't one of them. And one thing that I'm always reminded in the Bible is that as Christians, since this was founded from Christian scripture, the Word of God, we don't do things by ourselves. As leaders, one thing that I've learned in this is that to ask for help and to draw from one another is what strengthens us even the more. There's a scripture that says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm in their midst. And when we can get together, as you can see, there's more than 2 or 3 of us. So just think what we all can do together in this Act 6 movement. And that's what people are saying, it's a movement, and it truly is. So this is the kind of stuff that just really encourages me and the younger ones. I mean, I believe you probably grown even in the 9 months. I know I did in the time with the training and stuff like that. But just think ahead, how much you can grow if you continue to apply yourselves. I can truly attest to that. That I've seen myself. Yes, I've had my struggles, but I know that I have come a long way, not just in Act 6, but in my family and stuff like that. So continue to do what you guys do, and this is, like I said, this has truly been a blessing to me. So, yes.
We're going to go with the mic so you can get it on tape. So.
Hi, my name is Kathy Chong, and I'm from GU, Cadre 2. And the two things that have really stuck with me these past couple of days is humility and building relationships, because yesterday in one of the group discussions, one of my cadre mates brought up that in order to lead transformation, you have to build relationships, because you need to step outside of your comfort zone, and in order to build that trust with everybody and to break down those barriers and stereotypes and misattributions, you really need to get to know someone before they start to trust you, and that's how you start leading transformation.
My name is Daniel McCorliss, Cadre 4 Woodworth, just graduated in law. Okay. I just got done with an affirmative action class with Dr. Brumley in my Core 350 affirmative action group. And one of the things that always kind of struck me as almost paradoxical is this notion that we read about of having to be an individual while being in community at the same time. It's how do you at one end better yourself as an individual while at the same time being part of an ever dynamic, ever changing community. And that all, after reading that, it never really clicked, like, okay, how do you do that? How do you become the person you're supposed to be and fit into a box at the same time? Is kind of how I looked at it. And just over this conference, it kind of just clicked in my head, like hearing John Perkins talk when he said you have to join in the agonies and the struggles of your time is to be a leader. And, all these notions of hearing everybody's dream and what it means to not only have a dream, but more importantly, to execute that dream. And for me, it just kind of all made sense that that is the way to do it. And I feel like we as people have to not be afraid to dream and more importantly, execute that dream. And we're here because one person did that. And I feel like that's so profound, because what I'm realizing is once you get to the point where you have a dream and your dream gets so big that you can give that dream to somebody else, I feel like that's the most powerful thing. And me and Daniel talked about that a little bit yesterday, but what happens when you can give a dream to somebody to where they can see that as you, to where I have a dream and I give it to Ben, and now he sees that dream with the same conviction that I had. Like, what more could you ask for in a vision? And I feel like that is the answer to how to better yourselves individually while remaining in the community. So you guys kind of showed me that this weekend, and hearing everybody speak about what they're trying to do. And at the same time, we're such a strong collective community, all working for the same thing, all working for the same positive change. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Denise Randall, Whitworth, Cadre 2, class of 2007. I think one of the biggest things for me with Dr. Perkins and just this idea of community, even with Tiffany speaking, it's just the idea and the reminder as you guys go through school, but also as you graduate, to remember it's so easy to be near something that you start to smell like it. It's funny, Crystal was telling the story about how she doesn't like bananas because she said her family used to put the bread next to the bananas, so then the bread would start to taste like banana. And I think it's really easy for all of us to be in this room and to be next to Tiffany and Mr. Heron, and a lot of these other leaders, and we get the smell of it, but we're not really the banana. We're not really that thing. And I think that for me, I live in this community, it's kind of gentrified. They're going that way in Lakewood. and I'd have people of the community walking through, and I'd be like, hey, we need a fence. People just put up a gate. I'm so tired of these people walking through with all they hollering kids. I'm trying to sleep, you know. The people are walking. Where I live, the street is a shortcut to get to the daycare, or it's a shortcut to get to the main road. But see, I'm not really thinking about that. All I really care about is I have these poor-looking people walking through my neighborhood. I'm like, I bought this house. Like, I'm trying to keep the value up or whatever. And so, it's been a reminder for me, the real purpose and where am I at and what's my heart. It's not about what the appearance of me is or what other people think of me or what other people know of me, but constantly reevaluating myself. And Dr. Perkins was a really good reminder of that because it is about the people in the community of the area where I am, and it's about the love that I have and passing that love on and seeing that the people in my area are benefited from me being in that community. And they're not benefited when I'm not smiling when they walk through. They're like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm like, no, why are you walking through here? You're supposed to go all the way around the other way. And so I'm convicted and truly blessed and honored that I can have that conviction and get back on track. So I just want to encourage all of you to keep that in mind as well. What are you thinking and what are your thoughts and what are you doing when nobody else is around? Are you really the banana or are you the bread that smells like the banana?
I hate microphones, but I'm Lori, PLU Cadre 3, and incoming freshman. And I think every time I come to an Act 6 event, the biggest thing I take away is that I'm forever learning. No matter how much I call myself a leader, by getting a scholarship or by standing up here in front of you guys, I'm forever learning. And I love meeting new people because of that, because I learn a new quality that I never knew existed and that I didn't know that I could acquire. And my hope is to go back to my community and be a leader, but to be a person within the community, not standing outside of it and looking in and trying to quote-unquote lead, but to be an example. And I think we talk about that a lot, and it really resonated with me this weekend, that the biggest way I can be a leader is by hanging out with, I call them my kids in my community, by playing basketball with them, by just sitting there and listening, and not always trying to start something, not always trying to get them organized, but just kind of really seeing how they're living their lives and then show them how I'm living my life. And not that they can just learn from me, but I can learn from them.